How do tides affect Barramundi Estuary fishing in Australia? Imagine standing on the edge of an Australian estuary, watching the water ebb and flow like a giant breathing. Tides are not just about water levels, they shape the entire fishing scene for barramundi. When the tide rises or comes in, it pushes seawater into the estuary, bringing with it bait fish, prawns, and other prey. Barramundi love to follow these food sources, so during an incoming tide, they often move closer to creek mouths and river channels. This is when they're most active and easiest to find. The rising water also clears out the shallows, making it easier for barramundi to ambush prey near the edges of flats and submerged structures. On the flip side, when the tide goes out or recedes, baitfish and prawns are pushed into deeper channels and pools. Barramundi take advantage of this concentration of prey, waiting near snags, rocks, and eddies to strike. The outgoing tide exposes submerged logs, rock bars, and other hiding spots, which are prime ambush points for these fish. This makes the ebb tide a fantastic time for targeting barramundi because they tend to gather in these spots. Low tide is another key moment. It often causes barramundi to gather in deeper holes and channels, where they can stay hidden and wait for prey to come close. Anglers often focus on these deeper areas during low tide, especially around drop-offs and underwater structures. When the tide is slack, meaning the water isn't moving much, barramundi tend to be less active. Fish activity slows down because there's little baitfish movement, so fishing during slack tide is usually less productive. Neap tides, which happen when the difference between high and low tide is small, are often some of the best times to fish for barramundi. These tides tend to produce clearer water and more stable conditions, encouraging fish to feed along flats and channels. During these periods, barramundi often move upstream and position themselves to catch prey washed in by the tide. For anglers in Australia, understanding the tide stages is key. Focusing on creek mouths, channel edges, and deeper pockets during incoming and outgoing tides can boost your chances. Using lures or bait near submerged structures that are highlighted by the changing water levels is a smart move. Early mornings and late afternoons are prime times because barramundi are most active then, especially when the tides are favorable. Avoid fishing during slack tides because the fish are less likely to be feeding. By keeping an eye on the tide stages, you can time your trips to when baitfish are moving, and barramundi are most likely to be feeding. In the end, tides control the movement of baitfish and prawns, which directly influences where barramundi will be feeding. The best fishing times are during the incoming and outgoing tides, while slack tides tend to be quieter. Knowing how tides affect these fish helps you plan your trip better and increases your chances of landing a big one in Australia's beautiful estuaries.